Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Unreal World with me. I am Wolfric and it is the next day. The last time I saw you I had just gotten back to the cabin, and since then I have eaten, slept, and it is now the new day. Just to show you, up here some of the stag cuts have finished smoking. We've still got another 152 left. This was a big stag, so yeah, it really paid off. That was quite lucky, and we got a decent stag skin for it. That's the elk leather that we had before. There you go, stag fur at the bottom. And we also, I think I mentioned before, I also killed a wolf and got a decent fur out of that. So our hide working is starting to improve. The good thing about that stag fur, part of the reason that it's such high quality, is because it was a huge fluke of a kill. I just happened to wander into it, and I was hoping that because it was next to a river tile, I was hoping that because I was approaching it from the side opposite the river, that when it zoomed in, the stag would be next to the river and I would be away from it, and so I'd be able to corner it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and when I zoomed in, I was right on the water's edge, and the stag was pretty much on the edge of the map. So I was really worried that it was going to run away, but fortunately, one lucky shot, I shot it with one arrow, hit it straight in the thorax, and it dropped dead instantly. So it must have been like a heart shot or something, but that's the best kill we've had so far, which is part of the reason I'm so pissed off that the bloody recording screwed up. So yeah, we're not doing too badly with meat at the minute. That's been quite beneficial. We've got some more charcoal, just give you a little run-up of what's happening around the camp. Yeah, I've got some more charcoal that I made. Obviously I needed to make the spearhead. That's the firewood that was there before. I went around and collected an absolute fuck ton of rocks, some of which I used to make arrows. I think I tried making about 15 arrows, so that was about 15-20 rocks. But like I say, they all turned out pretty crap quality, so I wasted quite a lot of them while I was fighting it. It's the Nierpes warrior and the hunting the stags and whatnot. And so we lost quite a lot of the bad arrows, which is great because we needn't talk about them ever again. And over here, this was originally the big stack of branches that were like 2,000 or so branches, and I used pretty much all of them to turn them into primitive cordage. So thankfully I did that off screen, because by now we should all know how tedious and long that is. But again, most of them I used to either make arrows or for making for smoking in the hut. One of the other things that I did, which I unfortunately don't have to show you anymore because I used them for trading, is I made a couple of nets. I said that I would before, when I mentioned it about what I was going to do with all those twigs. To make a fishing net requires 30 string and 5 rocks, and the knife and the slender trunk are reusable. It doesn't actually use them and remove them. So I made 2 nets. One was inferior and one was good quality, and I did try using them for a while, but unfortunately I still wasn't catching anything. I don't know if I was placing them in a wrong spot or if I was leaving them too long or not long enough. I'm not really too sure, but I wasn't having much success with them, so I traded them for other goods. Speaking of which, I'm going to drop off our grain, our 2 bags of barley grains and our bag of barley flour into the cellar, as well as the rest of these dried salmons, because we will keep them for a rainy day. And we'll drop off the rest of these smoked stag cuts. And what have we got in the way of food? We need to start using up our other smoked foods. I think we... no, there we go, 135 bland smoked elk cuts, so we'll take another 30 of those. We'll chunk through those a bit. And now we will make sure that we've got water and that our skin is full. It is. Great, then with that, let us be off. Did I pick up the bloody canoe? I did. Don't know why I did that. Right, let's go hunting. I had some pretty good luck with game in this area. I think the stag that I killed was on this patch of land here, or around here anyway. I'm getting a little bit nervous about our positioning in the world, because over the past couple of days I have noticed there are Yerpes warriors on this spit of land around here. They seem to be coming into this area, and like I said before, I'm pretty sure that the chance of Yerpes warriors or wild animals spawning on little tiny islands is reasonably rare, but it does happen. And it would be really rather unfortunate if that was to happen and we got a load of Yerpes warriors starting to spawn on our island. What was that? A stag. Yeah, see, moose, stag on an island. I always call them mooses for some reason. Let's take off the paddle and wield an arrow. So we've got 50 arrows now. Nice. Let's use the rough ones first. And let's go. Let's go kill us a stag. There it is. Right, hide. And let's try and get an early shot off for the body. Miss. And it fell asleep. Perfect. Okay, another rough arrow. And there we go. Pierced its shoulder and it escaped. It's right there. Let's have a look at it. It is limping. Okay, that's fine. Let's shoot it again with another rough arrow. And we miss. And we miss. And we miss. Alright. Well, let's go this way then. Let's actually follow it. Oh, we're hiding. Let's stop hiding, because we will be travelling slower if hiding. There he is. So let's go up this way. Not worried too much about him running away from us, because obviously being on an island he isn't going anywhere. So it's really just a matter of time. Thinking of which, there is the water's edge. Where is he? Has he gone up? There he is. Fallen asleep again. I think. Yep, sleeping wounded stag. So let's wield another arrow. Unfortunately, we're still a little bit injured, which is taking down our skill a little bit, but not too badly. And he's awake. Right, let's just keep moving forwards. Okay, let's try and get an arrow off. And we miss. And that wasn't an arrow. Right, that's fine. Let's keep going in this direction. We'll keep herding him along the water's edge, and we should eventually be able to get him. And pick up our arrow along the way if we see it. I can't see it in a minute. I might have missed it completely, but we shall see. Is he still up along here? Still up along the water's edge. There he is. He's asleep again. So go back into hiding, and he wake up. Oh. Of course we can't see it, we'd have to zoom out, and I'm not prepared to do that. So let's just keep going, keeping him to the water's edge as best we can. And he's gone further north. Yeah. There he is, asleep again. He should be getting tired pretty soon. Limping. And he's running again, and there's the water's edge. So now we're fine. So let's prepare to throw another arrow at him. Just keep him against the water's edge. go. Right, try and get him. There we go. Falls and hits his hip. He falls and gets back up again, looking fatigued. Right, let's hit him again. Bleed from the thorax, fallen prone. Yeah, so let's go and finish him off. So we will wield the hammer and finish him with a nice quick smash to the skull. Drops dead in an instant. Perfect. So how bad is the thing? It is a harmed stag carcass. Now the wolf and the elk were both harmed, but they came out in decent quality. So I'm hoping that our hide working is at such a level now where it's not going to matter too much. So we will drop all of our stuff to minimize as much as possible, as is normal practice, and skin the animal. Come on, decent, decent, decent. Give us a decent. Give us a decent. Harsh stag skin. That's not too bad. We really don't need the skin for much at the minute anyway. I mean, we've already got all of our clothing and whatnot. We've crafted pretty much everything that we needed, so most of the stuff that we have now, or most of the all of the furs that we get now will either be used for trading if we need to, or for sleeping mats. So I'm really not too bothered about the quality of them at the minute. And our canoe is still down here. Wonderful. Oh, we need to put on our paddle again. So let's go back home quickly and get some sleep. There we go. Actually no, let's go around the other way because it's going to just take forever to swim around the other way. There we go. Okay, so that's another stag. How many did we get for that? I didn't check. 230 stag cuts, so yeah, we're doing well. I am pretty damn pleased with that. And everything's still looking all dark and gloomy, and winter is definitely coming. Oh, there you go, winter season. It is winter now. I still feel it may be a little bit too warm for us to be able to dry this stag. If when we wake up tomorrow morning, if it lets us dry it, then that will be wonderful, because I want to start drying our food as soon as possible, because not only will it reduce the weight a lot more, but obviously it will last a lot longer. That's going to take too long, isn't it? I was hoping that would be a quick thing. We might wake up a little bit late. We'll just have a line tomorrow morning. So this elk is really not nutritious, not in comparison to bear or stag. So let's get some sleep. And right, so let us see what the weather is. Weather law. The weather is chilly, the sky is clear, and there are no clouds. You are not very sure about this, but you think the weather is going to get colder. It's possible that it's going to rain soon. So it might be possible for us to start drying our food. We will pick up our stag meat and try it, because the sooner we start drying, the better. So let's see. And we also want to start tanning that skin. So actually we'll do that first, because the skin seems to rot a lot quicker than the meat will. So let's take the stag fat. Unfortunately I lost one of the elk skins from the elk that's just finished smoking. The skin from it, I left it for a day too long and it rotted, which was unfortunate. We've already cleaned it, so we want to tan it. Stag fat. So fortunately we're in a position where we don't need to use the fat for food anymore, so we no longer need to use the trees for tanning material. We could still use the fat in things like stews and whatnot as additional flavouring, which would be nice, but I'm not too worried about it in a minute. Which also brings up one of the other things that I intend to... Oh, we didn't even use all of it, that's nice. One of the other things I intend to do, either in this episode or the next one, is I am going to make a pot out of some of our wrought iron, so that we can actually start cooking proper meals, and we can start cooking soups and stews and all that, which I've mentioned before. We can actually fill up our skins with stews and soups, so when we're out and about, instead of having to carry around a big stack of meat cuts plus our water skins, we can just carry around the water skins full of soup or stew, and then when we quaff from the skin, it will not only satisfy our thirst, but our hunger as well, which will be wonderful. It will be really efficient and useful. So yes, that is what we'll do. What were we going to do now? Oh, that was right. I came in here to get some cords, but I have none. Where are all my cords? Where is everything? I didn't use it all up, did I? Huh. Actually, thinking on it, I'm not too sure that I've ever actually shown the layout of the house. I remember when we finished it off in one of the previous episodes, we finished building the cabin itself, and then we built the sleeping bunk and the table and bench, but the layout that I've generally got, the fireplace is obviously up here, and the tile that I'm standing in now is going to be the firewood pile when I start chopping that up. At the bottom of the bunk is my clothing stack, so just kick the clothes to the end of the bed, as you do. At the minute, this is obviously where the food is smoking, but that will no longer be the case once I have built the smoke shack adjacent to this. Down here is where I'm keeping cooking utensils, so at the minute I've got the wooden tub of water and the rough skin of water, and I will also keep the pot there, and probably the bag of flour as well, because I'm pretty sure that flour doesn't rot either, so I could always bring the flour in here and leave that here. Then down here, I'm going to back onto it because I don't want to be assaulted by a wall of text. Oh, I wouldn't actually, there's not that much. This is our weapon pile, and then down the bottom here is our general use tools and whatnot, and then on the table here, just where I do the beating for the leather working, I've left the hide. All the furs will generally go onto the bed here to sleep on, and are all these cuts ready? They are. Wonderful. So let's pick up the rest of those stag cuts, and that's all of that finished. Excellent. Right, so we'll drop that back off. And drop. And that, and that, and that. And there we go. And the skin is tanning, isn't it? It is. Right, so apparently I don't have any cords left unless I'm holding them. I've got 8. So okay, let's did I pick the raw meat back up? I did not. I would lose my head if it were not screwed on. 230 stag cuts, right. And let's try and dry it outside. Failing that, we will just take it inside and smoke it, so dry. We want the raw meat. 19. Yes, we can start drying. Excellent. Here we go. We are going to have to go inside and use some of the clothing for making cordage, because I haven't got any primitive cords made up at the moment. I think there are some on the riverbank, but I really can't be asked right now to sit and weave those, considering it takes nearly a day to do a set of 5, so screw it. We'll just make a load out of some of our defunct clothing. What I might actually do with that stag skin that we've got tanning on the riverbank at the moment, I may turn it into leather, because as I said, we've got all the clothing we're going to need. However, with the ironworking mod, we can make armor as well, so we can actually make all the iron armor in the game. But for things like gauntlets or chainmail armor, you need to use leather clothing as a base. So need to use a pair of leather gloves as a base to make a pair of chain gauntlets. I'd need to use a leather shirt as a base for making a chain shirt. So that's what we're going to do at some point. Iron armors, yeah, if I go to ring shirt, need 6 pounds of leather shirt, a handful of ring, tying equipment and knife. So I might turn that into leather, which I hope I can do after this stage. I'm not too sure. I know that you can do it after cleaning it and scraping it. I'm not sure if you can do it after you've applied the tanning material. I think, and I'm not sure about this, don't quote me on this until we've actually tried it, but I think you might actually be able to dehair it right up until the point that you take it and beat it in the final stage. So we will try that. We will we'll try and fix it beforehand. We want to cook up the last of this stag fat as well, so let me grab some firewood and chuck some into our... we'll use the branches. Yep, all of them. And we'll just cook up the last of this fat, warm up the cabin a little bit. And drop the branches. There you are. All of them. There we go. And push them into there. And give me fire. The fireplace needs more firewood. Damn it. That's the unfortunate thing. If I was to take that stack of branches from here and just light them now outside, 20 would easily be enough. But no, I didn't want 138 firewood. Yeah, 20 branches would be more than enough to start a little fire. Drop 135. No, drop 130. Screw it. Yeah, but in the fireplace you need to have a decent amount before you can actually start the fire. So let's drop those 8 firewood and move them into the fireplace and start a fire. Nice, nice big fire. And then roast off the stag fat like so. And while we're here, before we go to bed, we will make some more cordage to finish drying off the rest of this stag meat. What will we use? We'll use the fur footwear, the fur mittens, leather belt. I've got a nettle cloak there, that'd be useful. Yep, we'll use that. That should be more than enough for now. That should give us more than enough cordage. Cord maximum from the nettle cloak, the nettle and the leather belt. Oh crap! I bought the current task. Yes, stag fat's cooked. That did not take long at all. I forgot about that. Right, try that again. Nettle cloak and leather belt. Make me cords, and then we shall sleep. Wonderful. Sleep. There we go. Excellent. And we'll eat and drink. Oh. This elk meat so inefficient is the best word. And let's finish drying off this stag. Should be enough. 59, 19, and inferior core. To use the inferior ones first, because obviously there's no quality. There's no difference in quality between the different ingredients. I mean, you're not going to get poor dried meat because you used an inferior cord. It's not going to happen. And we're going to have 2 extra pieces of meat that we could have roasted off. We may still be able to roast it off. It's the beauty about the fireplace is that it stays hot long after the fire's actually burnt out. So 2 stag cuts. Yeah, see, the fire burnt out hours ago and it's still hot enough to roast meat. So that's fine. We shall leave that there for a minute. Just pass some time with the full stop key. And it's ready. Lovely. So, yeah. Right, well, thank you for joining me again today. I'm going to put a cut here. I feel it's been reasonably productive. We managed to get that stag, and we can finally start drying our meat. We are finally in the winter season, so we got our cabin finished just in time, and now I'm pretty confident that the amount of food that we've got now should last us through the winter. We shouldn't really need to worry about hunting too much more now. We've got two stags that gave us 200 odd cuts of meat, plus an elk that gave us 150 odd, plus a wolf that gave 35, plus the trout and salmon that we managed to trade for down south, plus the fact we're on a river. We can always cut holes in the ice and go fishing if we need to in the middle of winter, and we can always go hunting for more if we need to. Plus the sheer volume of grain and flour we've got now, we could make so much porridge and bread out of this. And we haven't even started going around and harvesting berries properly yet. We may not even actually do that because it's not a particularly viable source of food, so I'm not sure if I'll do that or not. But I think we're pretty ready for winter to come along properly now. I think we'll stand a pretty damn good chance of survival. So we're going to have to start looking for other stuff like chopping firewood to get ready for that part of it. But yeah, I feel that we've accomplished a fair amount today. So thank you for joining me once again today, and until next time, I will see you later.